Rev up your engines!
Ricky Cunningham says, what would cause my headlights to go brighter when disconnecting the negative battery? Never do that in any modern cars. You can't leave a car running in a modern car and disconnect either battery terminal. You can get voltage surges that will ruin all the computer modules. And it's not like you only have one computer module. The average car today has like 40 modules. Some Mercedes have 97 or over 100 separate modules. You never want to do that. And if they get brighter, either you've got a crappy battery and it's using so much electricity up from the alternator that when you remove the cable and take the battery out of the whole equation, the lights will get brighter. Also go out and have your alternator load tested. You could have an alternator putting out actually too much voltage. That's what people don't understand. Alternators are called alternators because they make alternating electricity. Then they have diodes in them that turn that to direct electricity. If those diodes break, you can actually get an alternator that puts 100-something volts out. It'll fry your whole car. So get that tested too, just to be on the safe side. Shadow Entertainment says, can low antifreeze coolant affect your transmission? Well, yes, it can indirectly, and here's how. Modern cars, you're driving down the road, you got a radiator, but either in the bottom of the radiator or on the side of the radiator, like on GMs, there's a coolant tank that has transmission fluid that goes through it. Your radiator also cools your transmission fluid. It gets hot. So if you're low on radiator fluid and your car starts running hotter, it's going to make your transmission run hotter too. I even had the exact opposite happen with a customer who didn't know. They towed a Subaru from Austin to Houston that's like 175 miles with all four wheels on the ground. And it ended up blowing the head gasket of the engine, even though the car wasn't running. They were towing it, and all that spinning of the transmission with nothing working made the cooler on the radiator for the transmission get so hot, it actually bubbled the coolant out of the radiator, overheated the car. And it wasn't even running. So you can go the other way too. John Matney says, is it okay to grind the ears of brake pads to make them fit? You want to get the right ones, really. Now, in a pinch, I used to do it years ago. I was a mobile mechanic, and I went around fixing cars at people's homes and offices, too. If I got brake pads and they were just a little bit off, I'd be cursed if I was going to go drive 20 miles to get pads that are right again, and I would. I had a grinder. I would grind down it so they fit in. You could if you do a really good job. You just want to make sure you do a really good job. You're really better off buying the correct pads. I mean, if you want to go tiny bits by tiny bits, then you get them in there. Go right ahead. But be careful, because if they're too tight, they'll drag, and if they're too loose, you're not going to like it, because every time you hit the brake, you're going to hear click, click, as the whole assembly moves a little bit. Won't hurt anything. It'll just be noisy, and it will probably annoy you. Moiset Fernandez says, Scotty, what are your thoughts on a 6640 Conaline? Thanks. Heck, I rebuilt an engine on one of those things for a friend when I was a kid in the late 60s. Those were cool old vans. I mean, they were turds speed-wise. This one had 170 cubic inch straight 6-cylinder and a 3-speed transmission, and the tree could barely get out of its own way. But I mean, he had a water bed in the back, you know, and sleeping in their vans. They were solid built. You can still get parts for the things. I mean, they're very basic machines. Carbureted. If the carburetor goes bad, put a new Edelbrock carburetor on it. Everything is still available, and if you like it, why not? But one caveat I have on any of those old things are, don't buy one if the frame's all rotten, because if the frame's rotten, it's useless. It will just fall apart. Check the frame first if you're thinking about buying one. Paul Reese says, how do you fix an LCD satellite navigation screen on a Ford Focus? Nobody fixes those things. Go to a junkyard, buy a used one. What most people do these days, they'll just throw the factory away and they'll put in an aftermarket Android. I got a video on that. I put one of these aftermarket Androids the company sent me. I thought I'd try it out. And it's fantastic. I mean, I got all kinds of music on the little micro SD card and videos, whatever you want. You can play whatever music you want, and they interact really well with your phone. I get my Samsung phone if we're going someplace, and I can go to Spotify and I can play all my music through that Android. And here's the weird thing. When I put that Android in, I kept the speakers that the Toyota came with. And I thought, man, the stereo that Toyota put in this Matrix is pretty crappy. It didn't sound that good. Well, when I put that Android in, it was only a $300 Android. God, the music sounded better. It sounds fantastic when you turn it up. And I had the same old 10-year-old Toyota factory speakers, and so I didn't even bother changing them. It sounded so much better. And that was only a $300 one. Who knows what the really expensive ones sound like, but I'm too cheap to get those anyways. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.